quickly. Yeah. Babe, you gotta get out of here. Babe, say hi, babe. All right, guys. Gets kind of crazy, but anyway, Faye's trying to help me out. Welcome, guys. Welcome to Moss on Sunday, live from Shanghai. Which is kind of weird. Really, really weird because the Wi-Fi, if you're connected to Wi-Fi, I can't get on YouTube. So I can't really see the chat. I can't really see the chats for you guys today. Sorry about that. We had to figure out a different way to connect as well because some of the other things in this country doesn't work either. So YouTube doesn't work. ChatGPT doesn't really work. A lot of those things don't work in China for some reason or another. I don't know. Maybe they're trying to control you or something, but you never know. All right, so welcome. Let's go. Let's just jump really. Let's just jump in and just to kind of reiterate, guys. A lot of things have happening this past week. Me almost going to jail for being a deadbeat dad and all that stuff. Some of you might have heard the story or not. I'm not going to get into all the details, but that's kind of crazy, right? So, what is that all about? It's more than just, well, did he do the right thing, wrong thing, or whatever, that people might think about. It's really not about that. It's just about, say, the consciousness that we're bringing in. We'll try anything to say stop it. So it's not about, say, my situation only, and just to prove to you, and I know I can't see the chats, but Demi here, working behind the scenes, he's going to be putting up some of the chat questions for you, because he can see it. And then he'll put that chat. And you're in the Ukraine, right, Demi? Yeah, see, so they let YouTube there, but not in China. So who knows? Does that say something about the state of affairs? Although Shanghai, guys, beautiful, beautiful. The food, really, really fantastic. So, in America, food's not that great. It's literally poison. As you get more and more awakened, you get more sensitive to the garbage that, that's all around. But in China, the food is actually really, really good. So how do you control people, right? So you can control them with food, you can control them with clean environments, or you can control them by the information that they know, or they can have access to. So especially with coming up with AI, a lot of things coming up with AI that are really needed to be talked about. So coming back to my story, like this week or this past couple weeks, it was like almost going to jail, because again, being a deadbeat dad, which obviously isn't true. And then, you know, um, um, and then here I'm in Shanghai. How did that work? Right. Well, if I was, somehow it turned out that didn't end up going in jail, but somehow uh opened up, so we kept our commitment that we had quite a long time ago. We've been in the works for years, and the cool thing is that despite the control mechanism, despite the control mechanism, this is Billy, Google, YouTube, etc. I chose to leave China many years ago to avoid the censorship. Absolutely. Right. But again, every country has its own censorships, right? So the biggest key is that we as an individual, as a whole, have to say awaken and not censor ourselves, right? We as a whole have to really awaken, really come to the surface and let go of, say, victim patterns, control mechanisms, and so on like that. And then once we do that, it's really hard for a person to be controlled if we can let go of that control mechanism at a top level. So what is it within us that's allowing this game, of censorship, of control, of victimization, of not becoming our best self, or having like possibilities limit us. That's really the key. And we look to our governments to do that, or we look to our parents to do that. We look to what our religions and so on to set us free. But the only thing that is going to set us free is understanding who you really are, and really coming into your own strength. And then once you come into your own strength, and you start to say, not censor your own self, because there's a aspect of us, okay, that is, say, censoring us. And censorship as a whole, it's not, say, one individual, you know that needs to disconnect from that. The masses have to disconnect for that. And this is where we can shift and transform governments. We can shift and transform anything that stands in the way, because there's so many better, say, ways of, say, controlling the masses. I was just talking to this um, individual that invited us to China. And they invited us because of the suicide problem. It's literally an epidemic here, unfortunately. So even the government's open to have somebody come in from the outside, and talk about, especially with what I do. That's really unheard of in China nowadays, right? To do that. And now it's like they're inviting somebody new, that does something very, very strange, although it's the most normal thing ever, right? To be at your highest level frequency to help out with the problem. So again, how does all that work? Not exactly sure, but the world is really definitely changing for sure. So coming back to, God, I'm kind of all over the place. Sorry about that, guys. Probably jet lag. But coming back to uncensoring ourselves, because that's really the key, right? Uncensoring ourselves is really, really important. Because if we have, say, a victim mentality or censorship mentality, and we've just learned it, right? We've just learned it from our parents, and they learned it from their parents, and so on and so on and so on. And now we just think it's normal, right? What they feed us, might be garbage. It's not good for us, but we just think it's normal. And then we'll take it, and then they'll give us, foods, for example, that is even worse for us, and we'll just take it because it's normal. Those kind of things. And our situations that we're in, your current situation that is, your current life situation that you're in, we just took it as normal because our parents were that way, born into it. But they took it as normal because their parents were that way. And their parents took it as normal because their parents were that normal. So we've gotten skewed so far off, because little piece by piece by piece by piece, we've been controlled. And then we don't know, kind of like a frog. If you put a frog in hot water, right, they can't tell the difference. So if you put a frog in hot water, they'll jump out. But if you put a frog in, say, normal air temperature water, and then put it to boiling, they can't tell the difference. They were literally boiled to death. They will not know the difference. Okay. And basically that's what's happening to humans. Over time, we just think it's normal that a lot of the shit that we go through is, well, that's just standard. That's just the way it is. And it's really not. And then, they bubble gum wrap it, and then we think, oh, that's even cooler, and they dispose us or disguise it, where attention is over there, but what's really happening is over here. It's all a magic trick. But I was just talking to this individual again that invited us over, and governments control us to a level that the population gets so dumbed down that you can't be controlled anymore. And then this is where people think, or those individuals that control us, it's like, well, population have gotten too stupid, and then now we need to kill people off or depopulate, as Bill Gates would say. Again, the problem is not the population. The problem is the people who control the population, right? They fucked up, right? And now it's like, oh, it's the people. We got to change the people. The people are causing this, and the people are causing that. No, it's the control mechanisms that are causing all the situations that we have. the population is just following it. So who's in fault? Well, both of you, both of us, all of us. So we really need to wake up as, again, say the human project, and really awaken and take a stand for who we really are. Not about, it's not about opposing something or the other. It's not about, gang mentality or riots or anything like that in the past, because again, that's just two forces opposing each other and nobody gets anywhere. Okay. And we've seen that before. Guys, this is literally about waking up, standing up on your own. No matter where you are, you could be in prison, you could be in the worst relationship ever, but these are all great opportunities to accelerate your growth of where you are held back. Okay, so there's no excuse for nobody. Again, there is no excuse for nobody. It's like, well, I'm really in a oppressed relationship. I'm going to go awaken later. No, that oppressed relationship can fucking help you awaken now. So if you're in an oppressed relationship or any other situation that, again, is limiting you, just ask yourself, it's like, okay, what is it in me that has allowed this situation for me to happen? Or what is it in me that's allowed me to create, say, the reality or the dimension of self that I'm in right now? Okay. And then you'll start to see the patterns. And then it's not just that experience that you're in, but you'll start to see the patterns that you're in. And then that's where the problem, they'll go, oh shit, it's just a pattern. And I see it's a bigger pattern than just me. And then once you start to see that, like I did, right? It wasn't just me that's having these issues, with, my past relationships or anything like that. I was running a deep, heavily burdened pattern of just being that person that'll take on, say, the trash of other people. That's not me anymore, because that doesn't benefit me. It doesn't help anybody else. So as I say, left that behind, you get into situations of, say, trouble, so to speak. And a lot of people, they go, well, just pay the price. And it's like, fuck no, I'm not going to pay the price. I'm going to stand for truth. And that's sometimes that truth hurts. But if you stand strong, like I did, well, you get out of situations that aren't you get out of situations, because today, where we stand today is about truth. And I'm asking you guys to stand for truth, not for, say, simplicity or ease or effort. This is like, just fucking do it, get it over with, and it'll be okay. No, because that's how you got stuck. Again, piece by piece by piece by piece. 10 years later, how many of you done this in a relationship, by the way? Okay. It's okay. And then the next time, it's okay. And then, your point, you're here. And then by the 10 years later, it's like you're way the fuck off. You're just way off. And it's like, how the hell did I get into this situation? Because piece by piece by piece, without you ever knowing, just like that frog that gets boiled to death, society as a whole is getting boiled to death. Okay. And the people doing the boiling and the people getting boiled, they don't know the difference. They really can't tell the difference. And then the problem is that we're all humans, and then we all crash and burn, just like we have back in previous civilizations. People get dumbed down to the point that they can't be controlled anymore. Once you're uncontrollable, societies have to commit suicide as a whole. This is where, again, viruses come in. This is earthquakes come in. This is where whatever it is, again, it just flattens out society. Problem with today is, like, it's not just a civilization, like the Greeks or the Romans or whatever civilizations that got buried, because those are we're so interconnected that, like, all of civilization literally will have to, say, expire. And humanity or the universe doesn't give a damn. It's like, hey, you went too far off. It's okay. You went too far off. You disconnect. Again, you perish. You go extinct, and then you start over again. Once, you accommodate or come back to self, and that's that. We're really on a pivotal point. So this is a time to really, say, shift and transform. Okay, so this gets us back into the question of AI. And I just, it's interesting. I can get YouTube on my phone on Wi-Fi, but I can't get YouTube if I use anything that's on Wi-Fi. So I'm just reading these questions. So, what is AI? And this is about human creativity. So it's about exponential intelligence, XI's view on AI, and then human creativity. But the key is that no matter what technology we use, if we're running the pattern that we talked about, and that's why I'm talking about this pattern that we're allowing to happen, again, dumbing us down to a point that we don't know who we are, to a point that we don't even know, say, what sexual identity, what sexual identity we have, whether it's heterosexual or anything in between. So when it gets to that point, no matter what you use, people are arguing about the fact that, God, AI is going to destroy us. No, AI is just going to accelerate how we've already been destroyed. We're too far gone for anything. We literally have to, say, awaken into a new consciousness for us to, say, actually survive and become, say, the best possible version. So just like anything, guys, when it becomes really, really extreme, okay, I'm not a doomsdayer or anything like that, but when things get to a push and shove, right, like we are today, it's literally a push and shove. You can go one way and be like, what's his name? Kurzweil. I forgot his first name. Demi, what's his first name? Kurzweil. He's the technological singularity guy. Again, where machines take over. Again, the end of the human species. Right, Ray Kurzweil. Or from my point of view, again, he's a futurist. I'm a futurist. From my point of view, it's like, like Ray Kurzweil and other futurists. Basically, they predict the future by, say, scoping out the past, or analyzing the past, and they extrapolate into the future, which is good. But then when you're doing that, it's good, but you're creating the past back into the future. So hence it doesn't really work out. XI futurists like me, like what I do is literally go, oh, okay, so we were here in the past, and this has led us into the future. Okay. But then, with future vision, right, you have possibilities that can lend us to different, say, opportunities of awakening. So that's the difference between, say, when I call myself a futurist, and maybe, say, Ray Kurzweil, or even like Peter Diamante, or some of those individuals that call themselves futurists. Again, they just extrapolate the past and put it on the future, right? Just like I don't know, stock analysis. They study from the past, extrapolate into the future. Just like social media, they extrapolate what you did in the past, extrapolate. They study the past, extrapolate that into the future. Social media, Facebook, Google, and so on, like that. That's what they do. They study the past, extrapolate it, or push it onto you into the future. The problem with those things, as we get into AI, is that when you are studying past habits of humanity, or you as an individual, for example, say you went clothes shopping for a certain type of clothes, and now you're seeing all these tons of clothes, the same brand, right? Or you're talking to your spouse or whatever about, hey, you know what, our water heaters and that isn't working as well, and then you get ads for water heaters and so on, like that. They create like this identity, and that's how Google and Facebook and so on, again, extrapolate, say, what they're going to show you, which is cool, but and it's convenient. But what happens is that it just cycles us. It's just creates this huge vicious cycle that we can never get out of. Okay? Say that you're addicted to certain patterns, and it's like, oh, that's what he's addicted to. Again, and then they just give you things that you will get you more and more addicted to things. So you never go out of the rut. So just think of it. They put you into this rut. You'll never see something different or new, because again, it's like, oh, you like this? We'll give you a million of those things. So just different versions of it. That's all. So you don't learn and expand. When a human doesn't learn and expand, well, what happens to that human? It dies on the vine. Right. So what does that have to do with AI? Well, AI just makes everything happen for you faster. Okay. So AI, and I'll read this, read the content here, the topic, but AI is really a great tool, just like anything else, right? If you look at your shopping habits, for example, on social media that you've done, and then all the ads that you're getting, is that ask yourself, is like, well, wait a second, is that the kind of person that I want to still be next time around? And if it's not, I can change your habits, right? Put something else in Google and social and Facebook and so on. Search for something else, and it'll show you a different ad. So you can use it as a tool rather than using it as a crutch or using it to imprison you. The same thing that you do with ChatGPT, guys. AI is a freaking great opportunity for you to learn, not from 10 years from now, but AI is so freaking fast. It'll give you concepts of who you are like that. ChatGPT is amazing. It'll show you how your writing style is and all that, by the way. So it's a great opportunity for you to learn and expand and give you direct feedback. Okay, if you're willing to learn from it. But then most people do not do that. Most people will use ChatGPT to make it easier so they dumb themselves down. Write me a paper on give me write me a paper on neuroscience that has this in it, and ChatGPT writes it out and it's great. And it's like, wow, that sounds really good. And you hand it to your professor. What the hell did you learn? You can use ChatGPT in a variety of ways to really enhance, say, your learning or your writing style. That's what I do. I write out what I need, and then I ask ChatGPT to clarify it better so people understand me, because I'm a little off sometimes because I'm more spatial. So it was interesting, by the way. Before this new version of ChatGPT, ChatGPT was asking me some interesting questions about XI. Before I think they kind of shut it down. It was very, very interesting. So it's a learning machine. Even ChatGPT was going, wow, that's a new way of thinking. It kind of scared me. It literally scared me. I'm going, whoa, am I talking to a real human there or not? So yeah. Yeah, it was really cool. And then, obviously they shut it down. So on this in this session, we're going to be talking about AI and human creativity. Creativity has always been seen as a trait that is inherently human and one that separates us from machines. However, with the birth of generative AI applications such as ChatGPT and Dall-E, AI can now carry out creative tasks in a way that is often indistinguishable from human creation. This raises a number of important questions, such as what does this mean for human creativity? What are the potential benefits and pitfalls of such technology? And how does generative AI affect human consciousness and vice versa? Is generative AI likely to enhance or inhibit human creativity, or creating an AI? Oh, this is interesting. Creating an AI spouse, is it imperfect? Is it the perfect relationship? Okay, so let's take a breath in. Let's really make it an experiential, experience, just like we always do on Moss on Sunday. Again, just a deep, deep, deep breath in, guys. Just noticing where you are, noticing you, just like any technology, guys, that comes in, right? No matter what technology that we use, no matter how benevolent the technology is, and no matter how caring that technology is, it doesn't matter about the technology or even the concept. For example, think about love. Love is supposed to be nurturing for you. But how many of us out there, and again, I can't see all the chats, unfortunately, but how many of us out there, by the way, have been destroyed by love? And love is supposed to be a good thing, right? How many of us out there has been destroyed by eating food? Food is supposed to be nutritious. somehow, right? Or how many of us out there making it easier for us to say expand into our possibilities, like technology is supposed to do, right? How many of us out there have been destroyed by technology? You know, whether you get radiation, whether you get pollution, you get whatever else. Again, no matter what it is that's out there, it's not the thing that you're creating. It's not the technology that destroys you. Okay. Off the bat, it is not the technology that destroys you. It's the consciousness that you exist in that destroys you. Okay. So even without those technologies, you will destroy yourself. If you don't believe me, look again into past, say, civilizations that have destroyed themselves. Okay. Why did they go? Why are they gone? Why are they off the face of this earth? Why are they buried in, I don't know, tons of dirt? And now we're, discovering them, or archaeologists are discovering new cities and so on, old cities. Because again, they destroyed themselves. It wasn't the technology. Okay. So when people go, well, let's go back to simpler times. Well, tech, the consciousness that you're in, once you get to a certain level of consciousness, you either have to go to the next level or die off. You can't stay in that same level. So it's not our technology that's going to kill us. It's not the pollution that's going to kill us or anything like that. It's just that we've the record, if you guys are on the 18-day hyper meditations, I describe consciousness as, do you guys remember the stack of records that was there? Right? There's a stack of records, and remember the old players, right? And then a record drops down, it plays. Basically, that's what consciousness is. It's the end of the record for us, guys. A new record is going to fall into place, right? And if anybody is on that record surface, just the old records here, the old records here, the new record just falls in. The old technology, old civilizations die off, and again, a new consciousness starts to exist. It doesn't matter about your technology. It doesn't matter about, say, going to Mars and saving ourselves. It won't matter, because that consciousness that's available or awakened is dying from us. Let's see here. Just falls in. Sorry, guys, I lost the questions. All right, so let's so AI and human creativity. Okay. This is from Boots. There's an artist that uses AI to create her art on Twitter called Deborah. It is very compelling art. This is an example of growing with technology instead of being managed by it. Yep, absolutely. There's so many ways that you can enhance. Say you're an artist, a lot of people, there are some artists crying because AI can come up with some great ideas and concepts, but move on. Move on and use AI to create, say, fantastic art. You just have to change your perception of what you're good at. Right? It's happened all the time with advanced technology. Let me give you an example. And you might think it's a stupid example, but this is how stupid. This is how the example. It's so simple. Back in the day, when snow plows came to be, snow throwers. Okay, back in the day, they used to shovel the streets. So like in Chicago, they used to shovel the streets, and there would be hundreds of men shoveling streets. Right? There was a new technology called a snowplow, a snow thrower. So the people went on strike. The workers went on strike because they were so mad. And they would throw like crowbars in the way and so on, and then it would jam up the snow thrower. So people are acting the same way back then. It's kind of stupid, right? Because now without snow throwers and snow plows, it's like what the hell would we do, right? So with every new technology, we always come up with, say, ways to stop it. So overall, again, we should learn to embrace new technologies and learn to enhance and go forward and, say, adapt to the new technology that's coming out. But furthermore, again, that technology that's coming out, AI, is at a different level of consciousness that does not exist at this level. This is zero level consciousness. Zero level consciousness is where density happens. So AI is, say, at level 10 level consciousness. Anything brought down from a higher consciousness into this reality will destroy itself. What we have to do as humans is awaken to a higher level of consciousness ourselves, and then come into the layer of technology. So if AI is at a level 10 technology, consciousness, we have to again raise ourselves to a level 10 consciousness to adapt to AI and to use it properly. Otherwise, it will kill us, just like anything else. It is basically accelerating the process of who we are. Right? Simple as that. AI is just an accelerant, just like anything else, just like success, just like love, just like children or anything that's beneficial for you. It's an accelerant of who you're not. Basically, it's an accelerant on and exposes the truth for you. So AI can give us a great opportunity. So instead of taking, say, 1,000 years for us to learn that, we're in the wrong path, AI is going to show us in a very short time that we're on the wrong path. So you can either awaken with AI and go, God damn, we're in the wrong path. Or again, we can say die off and keep going on that path. So again, it's not about AI. There's a question here. Current college students are getting degrees in AI that will be done in AI in the future. What can they study that will prepare them for the true future and most? Really great question. Well, that's the key. So and that's how you get replaced, by the way, right? In the zero, and again, we'll just use zero reality. Okay, in this reality, zero level consciousness. Okay, what will happen is that jobs will always be replaced. Okay? The only way we can say create new jobs, or new opportunities, like many of you are actually coming into who are exponentially intelligent, is very simple. You raise your consciousness. As you raise your consciousness, what happens is that new possibilities of doing things that AI can help instead of replace. That's the key. AI helps rather than replace, starts to come in. There are so many possibilities for humans that we haven't even, say, realized that we could do. There are so many, say, different inventions that we can use, that AI can use to, say, enhance that, since we're so far behind. We're 1,000 or so years behind. What we did 1,000 years ago is what we're doing at a consciousness level today. Actually, what we did since 8,000 years ago is the same exact consciousness that we have today. We haven't evolved, by the way, at a conscious level. Okay, we're stayed the same. We've just expanded our, say, tool set. Okay, and all the possibilities. Again, look at the workforce, right? Not real, say, new solutions of, say, new opportunities came out when a new consciousness, say, of, say, telecommunications came out, right? Wireless technology and so on. A whole different, say, branch opened up. Okay, AI in itself, a whole different branch is opening up. Okay, so but the key is, like I said, that technology came out, but the technology, not only is it the technology that allowed, say, a new possibility of, say, job opportunities, okay, or understanding, but that technology came from another consciousness, which again opened us up. So if that's the case, we should open up into a new consciousness, and then this is where technology will not replace us. It'll enhance, say, the new possibilities of who we are. Right? This is really good. But in the end of the day, who invented AI? Wasn't it a human being? No, not at all. It was a human being that developed it. That's really a good question. So, so, um, so we have to understand consciousness first, and I'm not going to go through all the details, but for example, no matter what invention that was created, okay, was not developed or was not created or was not formed in here. It was not a mental state. But basically what happened, and you can ask any inventor, even the guy who invented AI, okay, which he said, which he proclaimed is like, I got to put an end to this because it'll end society. Okay. All great inventors, Albert Einstein, Tesla, um, um, guy who did Niels Bohr, they all got to a point, it's like, holy shit, this technology is going to end society. Okay. Why does that happen? Again, people do not say create inventions. You do not say learn from this thing to that thing to create something else. Okay. So let me explain how consciousness works. Consciousness is a global setting. It's an operating system. And by the way, I did a lecture series on this that'll air hopefully pretty soon. We have to clean it up and so on, and it explains all the details on how consciousness works. But think quickly. Consciousness is an operating system. Say your operating system, whether it's a Mac, whether it's whether it's a Windows program or whether it's an Android, operating system. If it's not in that operating system, you cannot create anything from it. Okay. So say, for example, you wanted to create an app that did X, whatever X is. If it is not, say, in the realm of possibilities in that operating system, from that operating system, you cannot create it. Okay? So consciousness is an operating system. So if the possibilities, for example, the color yellow, okay, just think of the color yellow. If that did not exist in the operating system that we have today called life, okay, we would not be able to see the color yellow. Okay. Over time, what happens is that consciousnesses just keep dropping down. It keeps transitioning. Okay. Newer and newer and newer and newer possibilities come into us, keep dropping down, just like that record player. It just a new consciousness comes in, drops down. Okay. Say like technology, a new technology. If you've ever noticed that a new technology comes in and it just like takes over the earth, it's not like it was a great technology. It's just that consciousness allowed us to, say, understand that technology, invent it into, say, reality, and then everybody adheres to it. That's how, say, inventions get created, right? It's the consciousness that we exist in or we live in, right? With every I don't know the time frame, but consciousness is evolving all the time. Nature is evolving every second, by the way, and evolving, expanding, and growing. And then obviously there's big transitionary periods or different levels. So as consciousness again expands, it expands to a point that we go to the next level. As you go to the next level, this is where again new possibilities or a new technology comes in. You'll see it like 13 every 13 to 26, 29 years, you'll see this new thing come in, new invention come in that kind of changes the course of humanity. Again, it wasn't because scientists were studying it. Okay. It's just because that consciousness, say, dropped into the play zone, and that's where you get a new idea. To give you a clear example, okay, you're in a room. Okay, you've got Lego blocks, and all these Lego blocks, you've got you've got a bunch of Lego blocks, but they're all square. So no matter what you do, no matter what you create, they're all square. Right? Simple as that. So consciousness evolves. You go into another room. It's got square Lego blocks and then round Lego blocks. And then after a while, you go into another Lego room and it's got square and it's got round and it's got triangular blocks. So you can start to create with more and more and more and more. Okay. So a person in the square Lego blocks will never have a concept of anything else because they don't know what is available to them. Right? It might be a hard concept to understand, but again, they do not know what is going on, right? Because they don't have access to it. So as consciousness has evolved, people start to come in and they go, aha, that's what we need to do next, hence AI. So AI, again, is a result of a new consciousness coming in, and then those individuals who have the right frequency, they go, oh shit, we can develop AI, we can do it this way. And this is where, say, a new invention comes in. But outside of that, you can't access it. There are great inventors who jump consciousness, say like a Tesla. Okay? They jump consciousness and then bring that technology of a higher consciousness into physical form. Okay? There's those individuals as well. So, but again, outside of that, you cannot bring anything in. So another aspect of it is again, say that the next consciousness comes in. Okay, and this is what we're getting into, by the way. There's this really young scientist, I forgot his name. He's like 17, 18. He started a technology company. He actually talks about this. He talks about the Mandela effect, by the way. Okay, and this is how the Mandela effect works, which again backs up my point. Say that this technology has yellow in it. Okay, the next consciousness is, say, an advanced consciousness, like it usually is, and then, but it's got no yellow. Yellow is not needed in the next consciousness. Okay, so basically, when this consciousness comes in, yellow will start to disappear in your reality. So no matter what or where you used the color yellow, you will not see it anymore. Okay? To give you an idea of you at a personal level and comment in, how many of you who've been, say, abused or memories of the past that you've cleaned up, which is not in your consciousness anymore because you're a whole different, you're running from a different consciousness or a different dimension of self. You cannot remember, or it feels really vague to you, or it's like, is that my storyline? How many of you have been like that? I did not change you at a mental state. I changed your dimension of self or dimension of consciousness that you existed in. That's why that concept of self that that you were abused a long time ago or whatever happened to you a long time ago back in the day doesn't exist for you anymore. You can't even say process it. You can't even think of it. Okay. So, and that's what say this whole concept of like, well, humans, make inventions. No, they don't. I can give you more and more examples of it, by the way. When there's a new invention that gets created, okay, and you'll see it in human or the 100th monkey experiment where, one monkey figures out how to use a tool on the next island, that's not, say, attached in any way, 1,000 miles away. That's another monkey at the same time creates that. There's problems with inventions. Somebody created, say, some chemical bond or recognized a chemical bond, that changed, the chemistry world. Somebody on the other side of the earth, um, at the same time or around the same time, uh, um, figured out the same, say, chemical bond. It's not because, again, there's a consciousness that opened up and then multiple people expand into that consciousness or that awareness. So um, being exponentially intelligent allows you to really, say, understand what XI is really about, by the way. So um, so that's the difference between XI and AI, by the way. Let's see. Okay, so coming back to the questions that I promised I'd ask. So what does this mean for human creativity? Well, one, for those individuals who use it, who get dumbed down by it, right? Who will use AI to replace themselves. Well, in that scenario, you're gonna you're gonna literally, out, you're gonna limit yourself because you're using AI to say do the work for you. Okay. Now there are the people who are going to use AI to expand and enhance. It's like, God, look at the possibilities that allows me to do. So again, it's really up to you. It also allows you to say, do AI can create, say, even creative things that were only, for humans to create, but AI can do, say, the mundane things. But AI, is just extrapolating, and that's why I was talking about extrapolation. AI basically extrapolates from the past, brings it into the future for you. I mean, brings it into the present for you. Human creativity can actually say leapfrog from that. So instead of taking you, for those people, and that's what I've done with some people, by the way, who are ready. So just like AI can say process so much information for you that it's humanly impossible, they can extrapolate the past, bring it into the present for you, and then you, as a creative person, can say push out different possibilities of that scenario. AI can go extrapolate the past, bring it into the present, and then create from the past, although it looks new, right? It looks new to us because we've never seen it in that form, but it's just a re-representation of the past, by the way. To us, it looked new, but again, it doesn't expand, so it's not creative. So in this sense, and I'll say that again, okay, for those people who can really take advantage of AI, and it's not about your intelligence, it's not about your creativity level, it's about your consciousness level. Okay. Some people, by the way, will not use their own consciousness, that you will not say ascend to a higher level of consciousness. You'll get channeled, or I see this as a huge problem, by the way. You'll get channeled by higher levels of consciousness that want to use AI, which is a fantastic tool to extrapolate, say, the human potential that humans didn't. If you feel, if you look at people, and again, a lot of artists go, hey, you know what? I sold my soul to the devil, right? A lot of those artists, right, that go on stage, they have a whole different persona. For example, the reason why they have a whole different persona is because, again, another say presence, or another say consciousness stepped into physical form through that person, and this is where they have, say, great talent. Okay, so in those cases, what'll happen, and nobody's ever thought of that, but in the XI world, you think of everything because you're at the first principle level. AI will, since people will lose themselves in AI, you're more apt to lose your identity, which again, you'll get possessed or controlled. So more and more people will destroy themselves or lose their own sense of self, trying to seek creativity outside of themselves. Again, just like channeling or allowing other people to step into you. Did that make sense to you guys? How that works, by the way? Okay. So you'll see more and more people controlled by another source that isn't them, by the way. Okay. In its right form, like I said, instead of you figuring 1,000 years of, because obviously you just live, say, at most 100, instead of you going through 1,000 years, you can put your creativity into AI. It'll extrapolate whatever's human consciousness has learned from the past, bring it to you in the present moment, and then from there you can leapfrog forward into different possibilities that will be available for you, instead of a linear, just like was it Einstein's was it first law? An object tends to go in the same direction unless there's another object, or another force that acts upon it. So basically, AI is it'll just create on that same path, which will keep society or humans on the same path. So people who can take advantage of it go, wait a second, now I know where we are. we're going to be recreating from the past. Let's change direction. So again, in that case, creativity will be enhanced for us. I talked about the potential benefits and pitfalls of such technology. So I just talked about that. How does generative AI affect human consciousness and vice versa? Actually talked about that as well. Again, AI allows us to, say, understand and fill in the gaping holes that we keep recreating. If you start to look at AI and how AI answers, you can actually find out about human consciousness and how humans as a whole think, right? So if you start to look at the holes that AI has, and start to ask yourself, it's like, oh, I'm part of that human consciousness. How can I get rid of that hole, that gaping hole that AI is starting to show for us, right? The incongruencies of humanity, why we treat one thing different, why we treat one set, why we treat, say, one group of people different than another group of people. Okay, all those things we have to look at, and AI will bring it out to the surface. So in that case, there will be more, say, sense of separation, because as AI puts us all together in a convoluted space, humans will seek a sense of separation. When, if you're using AI to write, say, your homework, or write a thesis, or write a business plan, or write, a marketing plan, and so on, like that, again, you become just a big blob. Everybody is using basically the same consciousness, or the same, say, brain, or the same mindset, right? The same mastermind. So everybody loses their identity behind, again, the mastermind, AI, which we call just AI. So when you do that, it doesn't really work out well, because your whole identity, or your whole thesis on why you're living here, is to create a distinct identity of yourself. But if you're just copying the mastermind and you're not learning from it, it becomes a very destructive tool. And it becomes destructive faster than before. So, creating an AI spouse, is it the perfect relationship? Well, it could be, if you use it properly. If you create the perfect spouse for you, and what is the perfect spouse? So that's a definition that really has to be defined. People go, well, the perfect spouse would be this. So write down your perfect spouse, and just like any other, like, social media app like Facebook and Google and so on, like that, that perfect spouse, so to speak, will get boring really, really fast, because you're not learning and expanding about who you are, right? Uh, yes, Tammy, it'll literally create a nightmare for you. The perfect spouse that you have, say, for example, the first month you met them, right? Oh my God, this person is so perfect for me. I can't believe it. They're just like me. And then, like, 2 months later, it's like, oh shit, this is a fucking nightmare, because they're reflecting back all the weaknesses that you are. Right? So if it was the perfect spouse, for example, okay, perfect spouse would be that individual, and it's not about the spouse, it's about you. Are you going to change? So if AI gave you that perfect spouse, okay, and then you started to see all your weaknesses and incongruencies in that perfect spouse, because that perfect spouse is reflecting your weakness and congruencies, and you go, well, okay, I need another perfect spouse. Well, you're going to get the same thing, because you're the same person, right? Because that's not going to satisfy you, because again, you became stagnant. So if you learn from that perfect spouse and you go, oh shit, so in that sense, AI could be good, because if AI could just, like, go into your brain and go, oh, this is the complementary version of what that person would need to, again, match perfectly, right? Because that's what a perfect spouse is, right? If you put it in a, say, an equation, and then you go, wait a second, I outgrew that. So if you start using AI as a perfect spouse, as a reflection of who and what your weaknesses are, and then you go, God, I need to adapt and change. And then as AI changes, adapts and changes for you, then yeah, that'll be fantastic. But then you wouldn't need AI. Your perfect spouse is probably waiting there in human form, but all you have to do is, instead of searching outside for that perfect spouse, fucking fix yourself. Do you guys always see what happens? No matter what you're doing, no matter what's happening for you, it's you that is the problem. Okay. And I'm not saying this from a negative standpoint. I'm not saying, oh, Moss just said that all the abuse that I've had is my problem. I can't, the government is like this. Well, as a whole, if we stand up and again ask what is it in us, what is it in me that's allowing this to happen? Okay, one by one, as we awake, we congregate together as a group, and then as a group, we start to change the whole system as a whole. Okay, and that's where again things come into really a great perfection. So we can use AI to destroy us, or we can use AI to literally accelerate and catch up on, say, the lag time that we've had not understanding who we really are. Moss, can you give an example of using AI the correct way to learn from it? Sure. So, for example, well, um, there's plenty of ways, and I did give you some examples. If you're writing, say, a paper, you might not be the best writer. Okay, you might not be the best writer. So say, for example, that you're writing a paper and you have your thoughts in hand, and you want to be an assertive writer, right? You want to write in an assertive tone, for example, a letter to your boss in an assertive tone. Okay, so you write down what you want, the concepts that you want. Okay, and then you go, okay, AI, please write, please rewrite this in an assertive tone to my boss. And then all the concepts they'll write in an assertive tone. And then from there, what you do is like, oh, that's what an assertive tone looks like to me, to the general. Because again, AI, searches basically the internet uh, before 2021 and sees what, say, assertive means to humanity at that state. It's like, oh, that's what assertiveness means like. And then you go ahead and rewrite that letter in your own words, and then compare it to what AI wrote. Does that make sense? So just don't take what AI wrote for you and give it back. And that's what I do. I rewrite the letter, and then, I write the letter as best as I can, for example, and I go, can you rewrite it? And then, rewrite it in this tone. And then it rewrites it. It's like, oh, so the next time I rewrite something, I want it in that tone. Well, I see how closely, and then when I put it back into AI, it's like, wow, it's very similar to AI. So it teaches me, say, a writing style. Okay. Now this is just for writing, but you can use it, like I said, for creativity or anything else. There's so many possibilities. Uh, in the vein of the other side being so clinical and non-judgmental as a non-emotional in a distorted way, can AI help us reference our emotional distortions, which we have to delete anyway? Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. That's exactly what it is. When you start to see, when you start, even how AI is, say, blocked from not thinking on its own, giving you a certain point of view according to government standards or whoever sets the standards, right? You can start to see, or humanity, if you're awakened, can start to see that as biased in a certain way, right? So when you start to notice that, start to notice, oh, don't go, oh, the government's biased and so on like that. I mean, you can, I mean, or you can go, okay, why is it in today's society that we need to, say, be biased in that way? And then what is it in me? And then you'll start to awaken. And as this truth starts to come out, we'll see that there's less and less and less bias happening for us. Okay. What is perfection anyway? What is perfection anyway? Exactly. So perfection to me, and this is what AI can never do, by the way. Okay, and we'll end it with that, guys. Perfection is actually how close can you get to the best possible version of who you are. So again, your timeless version is here, your time-bound version is here. So in your, say, journey, or your in your journey and your, say, life purpose is not about creativity, better artwork, music, or making more money or anything like that. Okay. Again, those are directions that AI will take us down the road faster. Okay. So as I end with this, perfection in its highest sense is how close are you to your highest possible version of who you are? How close are you to your time-bound body, your timeless body, and your time-bound self? Okay. The closer and closer that you are, the more perfect that you are. Okay. Because perfection does not come from anything of this physical form. Perfection comes from, again, your spirit or your timeless self. So can AI do that for you? No, they can't. I mean, they can if you use it properly. Anything you use, again, as long as you're going through and getting closer and closer to your limitless potential of who you are. If you're using technology or anything else, as long as you're wiping out or deleting all those filters that are keeping you, say, separate from, say, your timeless self, as long as you're getting closer and closer, you're starting to reach perfection. And that's what perfection is, from a first definition standpoint. Can AI help you do that? Yes. Can AI help you destroy yourself even more? Absolutely. And it'll do it much, much faster for you. That's the only difference that AI will do, guys, as we end. AI will do whatever that you're doing easier and faster for you. So if you're using it to destroy and lose yourself, you're going to lose and destroy yourself faster. Simple as that. If you're searching on that track to be your best possible self, and you do it the right way, and then you're going to use AI to, again, define who you are and eliminate those things that you're not, again, creating more perfection for you. All right, guys. I would really love to scan you all, but I really can't because I can't read the chats. All right, guys. So we'll save that for next time around. All right. So as we end, did we miss anything? I think. All right, guys. So as we end, guys, in the future, we'll do more and more AI, AI and XI, compare the two, and how each can benefit from it. Also, guys, if you go on TikTok, talking about scanning, if you go on TikTok and ask your question and then tag me with Sajady, tag me, yeah, tag me with tag me with at Sajady. I'll answer your question for you. If it's a viable question, I'll answer it on TikTok for you. Okay. All right, guys. So notice what you notice and then notice the details. All right, guys. Peace. Thank you.